is this predictable? Is it predictable? Meaning, can you find out now before you start to actually have a problem, before you become one of those 20 million Americans and have an autoimmune disorder? Can you find out now if you're susceptible? Is it predictable? And the answer actually is yes. This was really surprising. Hi, it's Dr. Morris from Magnolia Medical Center. Today, we're going to give you kind of a little tip or a tech tip on autoimmune disorders. We see a lot of patients that have autoimmune disorders, and I want to give you some information about that because a lot of people are suffering. 1 in 5 Americans are already being diagnosed with autoimmune disorders. It's just rampant. The numbers are skyrocketing, and I want to make sure you have some information about this. So the American Autoimmune Related Disorders Association says that it takes, and I might have these numbers backwards, it's been a while since I looked at the exact statistic, but 5 different doctors, meaning if somebody thought that they had an autoimmune disorder, it would take them visiting 5 different doctors for them to get a proper diagnosis, and on average 3.2 years. So if somebody's suffering, it could take them 5 different doctors to get a correct diagnosis and take them over 3 years of searching to get a solution to their problem. Most often they're put on an immune suppressant drug, an immunosuppressant medication, which actually can provide a lot of relief, but man, it opens up a lot of other health problems. Those medications are pretty powerful. 1 in 5 Americans are already diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder. 75% of them are women. The Environmental Working Group has some great statistics on why women are more prone to autoimmune disorders than men. I'm not going to go over that in this particular video. But what I thought was interesting is this predictable? Is it predictable? Meaning, can you find out now before you start to actually have a problem, before you become one of those 20 million Americans and have an autoimmune disorder? Can you find out now if you're susceptible? Is it predictable? And the answer actually is yes. This was really surprising. Pardon me. Lupus, scleroderma, Chrohn's disease, celiac disease. If you had a doctor who knew how to do the right test and look for the markers in the blood, it's a very specialized test, but the research shows that there can be markers 5 to 10 years before you ever get a symptom that are 100% predictable of you getting that disease. Meaning if you had those markers in your bloodstream, there's a 100% chance that you will end up with that disease. Now, that doesn't mean you can't do something about it, but if you're not doing anything about it and the reason you got the disease in the first place isn't being addressed, you could pretty much chalk it up that you're going to have that problem. 100% chance if you didn't address it at all, if you have those markers. So you can predict it. Rheumatoid arthritis, Sjogren's, Hashimoto's. We see tons of people that have Hashimoto's. All these things are predictable if you know the markers to look for. So I wanted to make sure you have this information because people don't have to suffer. You don't have to wait for the wings to fall off the airplane before you fix the rust, right? You don't have to wait until you're being hauled off to jail to start living a better life. You know, jail being if you're sick and ill and you're in this jail called your body because you can't go out and do the things you want to do. There's something you could do ahead of time, okay? If you have an autoimmune disorder or you think you might have an autoimmune disorder and you want to be proactive about this and get ahead of it, or you're trying to solve it without the use of immunosuppressant medications, you should call our office. We're fantastic at this. We don't, there's over 100 different autoimmune disorders known to the human body. And there's things you could do about all of them. It just takes work. It takes some investigative work to determine what's causing and what's activating the immune system. You should call our office. We might be able to help you. Hope you found this valuable. Please like and share this. Send it to your friends that might be suffering. If you have a family member that has an autoimmune disorder, they need to know this information. We're happy to help. Stay tuned for our next health tip.